Let's get a little weird. Let's get a little odd. Those sounds you like to hear. We got it going on. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST.
Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to the ODDCAST, where we talk about people turning passion into profession. Guys, we have a very special guest today. It's awesome. We are here at Mason Aleworks with the one and only Grant Tondro. Grant, how are you doing today?
Man, dude, I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for coming out. It is a nice sunny Friday in December in Southern California. But what's not to like, man? It's 65 degrees out, not a cloud in the sky, not a flake of snow on the ground. We're all good.
We are all good as always. And so, dude, thank you so much for having us. Honestly, your facility is beyond magnificent here. I know it's a lot of work and fruition. I know it's been basically since 2007, and I'm sure way before that even. So, dude, tell us a bit about what's going on at Mason Aleworks. I know that's an open-ended question.
Absolutely. Well, I'll give the quick 2-3 minute rundown of how did we get from college to here.
Beautiful.
So, my best friend and I, Zach Higson, we met when we were 15 years old in driver's ed. He was a new kid on the block. He came from Buffalo, New York originally. He's Canadian, from Hamilton, Ontario before that.
Awesome.
I grew up in Santa Monica in the LA area. My dad changed jobs in high school, so all of a sudden we were 15 new guys in Rancho Bernardo. We met, and the rest is kind of history. So ended up dating some of the same girls. We had an apartment together, all that stuff. But we get into college, and we were running a liquor department for Vons, and we enjoyed the industry. But Zach was going to school to be a CPA. I was for a brief time as well. Ended up switching to a finance and management focus. We both got out of college, got the jobs that we were supposed to get, that we went to school for, and realized pretty quickly that neither of us wanted to die in a cubicle. So we took this business plan that I'd written for a completely unrelated business that I'd worked on as part of my master's project. We reworked the thing to be for a restaurant. At this point, I was working for a company called Southern Wine and Spirits, so I had a lot of exposure to restaurants. Got to talk with a lot of restaurant owners because I was selling them wine and liquor. So my side hustle kind of became refining this business plan, and the rest is kind of history. We actually wrote the plan in 2004.
Wow.
So we were 25, 26 years old. Got approved for the SBA loan to go ahead and do it, and then couldn't find a location. Took us a couple years to find a location. Finally get the lease signed. Everything gets open up. January 12th, 2007 is when the Barrel Room, our first restaurant, opened up. So it turns 12 here in about a week and a half.
Wow. So hey, happy 12th birthday.
Thank you.
Honestly, that's incredible. I was reading in your bio about 3 local brothers, which I'd love to ask obviously a little more about, but that you guys were both working as kind of like the wine representatives for the Vons, whether it was picking what was going to be on the shelves or whether it was what's going to be promoted.
Exactly.
That was kind of the move. And so I'm sure in that sense you were able to identify, not only within the liquor industry, but within kind of just the general food and drink industry, what's going to be, accessible to people, what's going to be the price point for things. And I'm sure that's helped, Mason. I'm sure that's helped Urge. I'm sure that's helped, the Barrel,
Yeah, 100%. And we both spent years not realizing that we were really doing market research for something that was going to help us out in the future, but that's exactly what we were doing. And then after Vons is when I went to work for Southern. I was at Southern for 5 years and did my master's while I was there. And then first restaurant is open, and it was an overnight success, which was great for us. We kept the day jobs. The third of the local brothers is Zach's actual younger brother Nate, who came on board to help us get the first place open
via Pat and Oscars.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh man, we got a deep P&O connection. So
awesome. I love. Hey, anyone from San Diego, if you don't like those P&O breadsticks, then get out.
So here's the random connection though. A bunch of our opening staff came from Pat and Oscars, between opening up the Barrel Room and opening up the first Urge a couple years later, also in Rancho Bernardo, and even opening up Brothers Provisions. But then even beyond that, we moved to San Diego because my dad changed jobs. He was a vice president with Thrifty Drugstores, then moved to San Diego to work in El Cajon for a division of Huffy Bicycles, and then gets this random phone call out of nowhere to go actually become the new CFO of Sizzler Steakhouses. So he does that for a little while. They put him in charge of mergers and acquisitions. They're like, all right, we need to buy another small chain that we can use. No, he was just, they said, look, you're a number cruncher, you're a foodie, find something. So my dad spent a year traveling the country trying to find a small restaurant chain for Sizzler to acquire. And then every weekend you'd come back. We lived in Carmel Mountain Ranch at the time, and you get a barbecue chicken pizza and breadsticks from Pat and Oscar's. And finally, after like 9-10 months, he's like, why am I, like every weekend I come back and eat at this small local chain, but all I'm doing is spending all this time looking at this list of small chains that are for sale, and so the rest is history. So my dad is the reason that Sizzler ended up buying Pat and Oscar's. At the time, it was just called Oscar's. It was actually my dad's idea to change the name to Pat and Oscar's because there was another chain on the East Coast already called Oscar's. And and all the rest of that is history too. So,
dude, that's awesome. So I mean, so not only is it in your experience, it's in your blood.
Oh yeah, it's unavoidable at this point. I mean, we basically got everything but the breadstick recipe. Otherwise, we had that on lock. So
dude, there's no way they're never going to give that away.
No, not a chance.
That's awesome. So the interesting thing, I was like, turning passion into paychecks. Like the thing that sometimes people think is difficult is when you said you were like, you were pretty high position at a bank, I believe.
Yeah, so I was running a branch for Washington Mutual out in Carmel Valley, and doing a lot of home lending, doing some investment stuff as well. I mean, it was. I mean, I was able to do any transaction up to $20 million without getting any kind of approval. Wow. I mean, it was. I remember seeing that on a piece of paper for the first time and thinking like, oh, do they know who I am? Or and they want to give me how much authority here?
Capital.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was good. But I just knew almost right away that that's not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So originally, we opened up the first restaurant with the idea of, let's make a little bit of extra money. Yeah. And we kept the day jobs. Just because, first of all, it's the restaurant business, so there's never any guarantees. And second of all, we didn't know. I mean, doing a restaurant sounded like fun. We knew we'd be sort of back in the wine game, which was something that was definitely appealing to us, but we weren't sure where it was going to go. And then to be as successful as we were right out of the gate, to be perfectly honest, we were kind of like, oh man, like we better read a book or something and figure out what we're doing because I remember we had 145 seats when we first opened. And like, man, I don't even know 145 people. Like, how are we ever going to be busy?
I've seen it on the freaking website. You guys were like within an hour or within like 30 minutes of opening, there was an hour wait for a table.
Exactly, and it was January, and we hadn't tested the hoods, so the whole place filled with smoke on opening night. We got to open up the doors, and there's no heaters because we didn't think about it. Like, there's all these reasons why it never should have worked and people never should have come back. But it was awesome that it did. And then so Barroom led to Urge, and Urge led to Brothers Provisions, and then that led to the second Urge, and finally Mason Aleworks into 2015.
Boom.
And then this place here in San Marcos a year and a half ago, and then earlier this year the 2 locations out in Carmel Valley.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really awesome. That's because that's what we are here to talk about is Mason eventually. And it's so awesome. I feel like what almost happened in a way was you guys were doing kind of the small batch stuff at Urge of the Mason, and then people probably were like, dude, this is freaking awesome. You need to and you probably got more and more. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it was. What really kicked it off was, so I had this strong wine background. We were opening up restaurant number 2 with Urge, and Nate, God bless his soul, worked for many years at the Barroom, not a wine guy.
Wow.
But he knew how to run a restaurant, and our thought process was, okay, we're opening up restaurant number 2. On paper, it makes sense for Nate to go run the beer place and for me to go in and run the wine-focused place, being the Barroom. But our fear was, okay, the Barroom is working, the Barroom is making money. We need it to continue to work and continue to make money in case something happens with Urge. If we change anything over there, if we pull Nate from there and things go sideways, we knew we weren't in a position to have 2 restaurants not do well.
I totally.
So we left it as was, and I just threw myself face first into the craft beer scene, which 2010 in San Diego was 30 breweries. I mean, we were at the grand opening of Hess Brewing before it was Mike Hess Brewing. We were at the opening of Mother Earth.
And even then they were saying the bubble was about to pop.
Oh, exactly. Like, oh my gosh, by the time we opened, there was 34 breweries in San Diego. This is insane. So, and it's crazy where the whole business got to. But what really ended up helping is, we've always had a do whatever it takes attitude. Yep. I spent an awful lot of time beer tending at Urge, as well as just being the manager and filling in where we needed to fill people in. But we got lucky in the sense that Peter from AleSmith lived right around the corner. Yusuf Cherney from Ballast at the time lived right around the corner. Steve Wagner from Stone lived right around the corner. And not that those guys were going out 2 or 3 nights a week or anything, but we kind of became their local watering hole. And I got to know those guys and develop personal relationships with them, and I got to learn a lot about the beer industry from talking with 3 guys with enormous breweries at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I read that also on the Mason bio, which is like, I just want to give you guys a big shout out, of course. I mean, not only for having us, but one of the things you guys say in your bio is like, we're always down to help people out because that's how we got to where we are.
Absolutely,
and like, dude, I feel like the cool thing about the beer industry, I don't know too much about what's going on in Denver. There's some cool stuff going on in Texas right now.
Yeah.
East Coast, like whether it's New York, but I know in the San Diego, from specific experience, there's such a collaborative nature of this craft brewing movement, and like it's not to sound corny, but it's a beautiful thing. It's really awesome, and I respect the fact that you guys are not only, you've had the ladder pulled down for you, but now you're pulling it down for others, in a way to help them.
There's so many people who helped us get here, and the least we can do is pay it forward with other people. And I've been lucky enough that people have definitely called us out on that in a good way. And I remember sitting down with quite a few different people to give them some pointers and stuff over the years. George Thornton at Homebrewer was somebody who was actually related to some of our team members at the time, and I was sitting down with him with his business plan to kind of point him in the right direction on a couple of things. Ultimately George was responsible for his own success, so I don't want to try to take any thunder away from that dude.
Oh yeah, shout out to George.
But people like that. I remember talking with Doug Constantine from Society a few different times before they opened up. There's been quite a few people that we've definitely worked with. There's some restaurants up in Temecula we've talked to.
Yeah.
It's a whole different game, turning your hobby into your profession. And ultimately, when we first opened up the barrel room, it was really just a pipe dream. Like, it was like, let's make a little extra money and see what happens.
Yeah.
And now we have 7 restaurants and almost 400 people who work for us, and it's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like you guys are so good also at like, I mean, it probably has happened more naturally than you admit it's not happened naturally, but I think what you've been able to do also is like, when you open something, it's diverse enough to where you can say, hey, this is a new thing that we can identify and build on that.
Yeah.
Whether it's your own brew at Urge, and then now you're running a brewery, or whether it's, I believe one of the things, another thing I read in your bio is on the Three Local Brothers website, is that when you open a new restaurant, you want it to have the same vibe of the restaurant, the other, but it has to be totally separate in a different sense.
Yeah, one of the things we always say is, we feel like chain is a 4-letter word.
I was going to ask about that.
So, I mean, you go into a Buffalo Wild Wings, just as an example. I'm not hating on B-Dub.
It's all good.
And every single one of them is basically the same. So here we have 3 Urge locations in San Diego right now, and you can tell they're related, but they're not identical twins. And that's what we want. We want people to feel comfortable with that experience, knowing that, we know it's an Urge restaurant, so we know we're going to get good quality, we're going to get good value for our money.
Reasonable price points.
Yeah, exactly. And we know the beer selection is going to be top shelf. We know this is what we're going to get, but
phenomenal service as well.
Thank you. But we know this one is a little bit different. So I wonder what they got. Let me try some strange and see what's new out here in Oceanside that's different than Rancho Bernardo. So.
Exactly. And like, it's so cool, like, in that sense, like what me and my buddy Dan were talking about is like, it's so cool that in a way you could be like, oh, this is my favorite thing at this Urge restaurant. Oh, this is my favorite thing at this Urge restaurant.
Exactly.
And like, you could literally go, I mean, our big one, because we're in North County, is the tasting room.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, phenomenal. And it's right next to the restaurant as well. So
exactly,
dude, it's constant perfection always. And I really like that you guys are always growing, always elaborating on everything. And I really also like the fact that you talk about not growing up, but when you moved to Rancho Bernardo, how it's a master plan city, one of the first in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's not unsimilar to Irvine.
Yeah.
How it's kind of like, you have your Taco Bell, you have the KFC, you have the McDonald's, you have if you're lucky, the In-N-Out off the freeway. But what you guys provide is a uniqueness within that kind of, I hate to say it, bland white and black market.
I mean, we looked for, like I said, for 2 years for a location. And it's crazy because every commercial real estate agent we met with, and we said, we want to be in Rancho Bernardo, they said, why? There's nothing there.
Really?
We said, that's why we want to be there. Like, you answered your own question. And finally, we found our own location, and ended up just saying like, this is where we want to be. And that's actually kind of another random story. We found a location we thought we really, really wanted. It was right next door to a Save-On pharmacy, and the Save-On pharmacy in Rancho Bernardo had this ridiculous rental rate. It's like 29 cents a square foot or something insane like that.
Wow.
But they had a clause in there where the only time that like 30-year lease could be renegotiated was if they were bought by someone. So we were just about ready to sign our lease for this location, which would have been a much worse location than where we ended up. But we were psyched on it because we didn't know any better at the time. And
Wow.
CVS steps in to buy Save-On. So the guy who worked for Capital Growth Properties and owns the shopping center said, look, I'm really sorry, but it also says in CVS Save-On in that lease that they have to approve anybody who opens up within 100 feet of them. You guys, the space you guys want is 97 feet away, and no offense, but us renegotiating this lease with them is a way bigger priority for us than you're ever going to be. So we have this other location that's just about to come on, and that's where we ended up opening the Bear Room, and it was so much better for us. First location didn't have a restaurant. The second location, which we did end up opening in, was a Schlotsky's Deli that had gone out of business. We took that over, and
wow.
So there was all this crazy, like, just fate stuff.
Fortuitous.
Yeah.
Almost.
Oh, absolutely. So
that's awesome. I mean, dude, I think that plays in though. I mean, look, there's a saying, real recognize real. Yeah. I mean, it is like, I think like your hard work, like and the passion that you have for it, and also just taking a risk has really paid off. From having the 401k desk job to now operating multiple things. Basically tap dancing every day.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, and it really shows in not only the product, but in the quality of the restaurants, kind of in the quality of like the atmosphere that you guys provide for people. I'm not surprised that, shout out to Tony Hawk, reserved this place for his 50th birthday.
Yeah,
I believe
absolutely. It was definitely cool to have him in the whole, it was some of the people from Birdhouse,
awesome.
Not necessarily skaters, but people from his crew here. It's out in Carlsbad, and yeah, couldn't have been nicer. So we just did a catering at their offices last week too. So
oh wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so that's the next thing. Obviously now I want to, let's get into the beer and let's get into the food of Mason. So like, whether it's the John B, the West Coast, or whether it's, the Curly Johnson.
Oh, good old Curly Jefferson.
Jeez, Curly.
Oh, sorry.
Hello. Yeah. Curly. Or whether it's this, the new Brood.
Oh yeah, good old Brute Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like venturing into the hazies now. I feel like you guys are so diverse in terms of what you brew, and it's so it's so fresh always.
Thank you.
It's so clear that it's not just something that you're like, oh, let's put this out right now because it's popular.
Right.
You've done your research, you've talked to the people, you learned the process, and you learned how you want to do your kind of take on the process.
Yeah. We've definitely had made some mistakes in terms of trying to come to market too quickly with certain things, but more than anything else, Matt Webster, our director of brewing operations, is awesome. Couldn't ask for a better partner in that sense of things, and it is hard to not be a little ADD with the number of restaurants we've got going on and everything else. And Matt is phenomenal at kind of bringing things back down to earth and saying, all right, this is how we need to build this whole program. I essentially end up being the de facto sales manager for Mason overall, and then Kevin Turner, who represents us here locally and is starting to take over some more stuff throughout the state of California, is an awesome asset to have as well. But we really try to sit down and look 3 to 6 months out, if not longer, all the time. So whether that be establishing what our core beers are and how those beers are evolving throughout the market based on what people want and what people don't want, but even down to the fact of, most of the beers we release are in 12-ounce cans, but the market is really saying, look, you're going hazies, you're going pasty stouts, you're doing some of this other stuff, we want a 16-ounce can.
You need the 4-pack of the 16.
So this year, you guys will have some stuff coming out from us on that. In fact, in January 26th, we have our first brewery-only release drop in here. We've got double vanilla coconut cash with lactose on nitro in cans.
Hey, you heard it here, folks.
Absolutely,
you heard it here.
Absolutely. Tease it a little bit on Instagram.
Yeah, January. What's that?
January 26th.
January 26th.
Yeah.
Woo! That's going to be. It's so funny because like every time I see you guys drop an Instagram post, like sometimes I see an Instagram post from like I'm not even going to say specifics like of breweries, and I'm like, oh, you guys are just flooding the market with old brews. Every time you guys drop one, it's like some new, fresh, like market tested.
Oh man, if it ain't new, it's through. right? So you gotta have something to keep it fresh all the time.
That might be the title of the episode. If it ain't new, it's through.
Well, you have to live in both worlds. You need to have this foundation that people can always count on. So John B, Charlie Hustle, Respeto, our Mexican lager, Cash, and Willie Time. Those are 5 beers we make year round.
Yep.
You can count on them. They're dependable. They're your friends. They're good stuff. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on our own stuff. None of them is going to blow you out of the water with how amazing it is. Mm-hmm. None of it's going to suck. They're all very clean, very well technically brewed beers.
Super drinkable, super accessible.
Exactly. So, but that also leaves this whole other palette we can approach. So we have 2 different series that we also do. We have every year we do a monthly release drop of some kind. So Brute Wayne dropped on Wednesday. That's our December release. January we've got Haze Initiation is our collaboration with Offshoot. That'll be our first hazy beers. That'll be a double IPA. February is Peer Pressure with Artifacts. March is some unnamed hoppy beer with Melvin. Like, we've got some cool stuff coming. And then we start in January also with the brewery only release, which will be like 100 cases. Once it's gone, and just keep living on that more extreme edge of stuff. So the bigger monthly releases, we can get out and do some stuff with some trendier things, do some more market tested things. We should have done hazies a year and a half ago, but we waited this long deliberately to make sure we did it right. To be able to collab with somebody like Patrick Rue and Andrew Bell from Offshoot in the brewery and do some amazing stuff.
Hey, shout out to Pat, shout out to Offshoot,
Dude, it's amazing guys doing amazing things. They're doing the Lord's work.
Oh, they really, dude. Oh, that Offshoot, the hazy and with the shark below it.
Relax.
Relax.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that relax is stupid fire.
I know.
Dude, that's so cool. I like that you. Dude, I think within like life and brewing, like self-awareness is such a big thing, and it seems like not only you as a person, but you guys as a brand have such self-awareness and know A, what you want to provide, but B, know how you want to do it.
But we want to make sure that we're diverse, and we have to begin each beer with the thought of who is this beer for?
The target market.
Yeah, well, not even necessarily a target market, because half the time the beer we're making is for us, just because we want to make it. But you have to think about, we can't drink all the beer that we make. Winslow Sawyer, Pure Project, we did a collab with him last week, and he said that, and I was like, yeah, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we can try to drink all the beer we make, but we can't. So we might as well make some beer for other people also. So,
it'd be dangerous.
Yeah, it would be very dangerous. But like I said earlier, there's a reason I'm shaped this way. So, whether it's I love big barrel aged beers. I'm a huge fan of what the brewery does. So beers like the Baracus or Johnny Cash that we've done. We've got barrel aged great Tim Hortons Ghost, which we did with Modern Times. We're releasing that called Beaver Tail in March. So stuff like that is totally my palate. Some of the hazies, we have other people here who are like big into that, and finally we're getting ready to tinker with some of that stuff. We're even getting ready to brew our first milkshake. That'll be a small 10-barrel batch out of Oceanside. We'll see how that goes. So,
I heard Shaggy's back here now.
Shaggy's back here now, and we've got JJ up in Oceanside.
Cool.
One of the awesome things about having 2 brewing facilities is
R&D versus the production.
Just being able to shuffle back and forth a little bit. And when we make a big batch of something, we really need to know where's that beer going.
What Brandon was telling me is the reason you brought some of your R&D up here is because you wanted to test it in kind of higher volume, which makes sense.
Exactly. So, but Oceanside allows us to basically make a 20 keg batch of something, and we can sell all of that through our restaurants. If we like it, but we want to keep making improvements, then we can sell it all in-house.
That's really
cool.
And
we can tinker with it a little bit until we get the recipe exactly where we want it to, and then we bring it here to scale it up, can it, and have some fun with it.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
So dude, that's freaking awesome. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about, we're running. It's been a great conversation. We're running close to an hour, I believe.
Nice. Now we're doing good.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
We're doing okay.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you also about Aleworks.
Yes.
The barrel age project.
Oh man. So Matt and Shaggy and JJ, there are 3 lead guys. Brandon's right up there as well. But
we'll put them on. We'll put all their Instagrams, how to find them, how to find you guys.
Good dudes all the way around. But all 4 of those guys have extensive experience, whether it be at Lost Abbey or Toolbox, with barrel aging beers. So we'd be remiss if we weren't taking advantage of that opportunity. So you probably see in the background the Spirit barrel aged beers back there. We also have on the other side of this tank, you can't see 40 brand new rum barrels that will get filled hopefully in the next 30 days or so with some other stuff. So that'll take us up to about 120, 130 Spirit barrels here.
Wow.
And then in Oceanside, we've got the sour beers. So, and the whole idea behind Snailworks is that's our slow beer program. So it's not about getting something in for a couple of months to pick up just a little bit of bourbon character and churn it out. It's, you know what, let's take our 9 to 12, 15, 18 months, whatever it takes for the beer to be spot on, and then have some fun with it then.
Wow, that's really awesome. I honestly, I have to say, like, whether it's, you know, from, again, you guys saying, hey, we'll help out with anyone with the process, to the recent article, or not article, I should say, the thing you put up about, you know, the 2.9% thing. I feel like you guys focus on transparency at not only Mason, but at 3 local brothers.
We definitely want to be as transparent as possible, and we're accessible. I mean, if you send an email in through one of the websites, any one of them, it goes to my phone.
Oh,
like,
dude.
It's not some unanswered box somewhere that has, you know, or a service. Like, that's my phone that's on me. You know, I'm having anxiety because it's like 4 feet away from me.
Mine's in my pocket. I'm like, I have to check.
Exactly.
No, but you know, I think that's something that's awesome, and I always want to ask the guests about that because, look, you know, we're also about just positivity in general, and like, I think the perception today is there's so much negativity on social media and with that, but there's so much positivity. I think the biggest one is like being able to link up. Like, we met via social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's quite a beautiful thing because we realize, like, oh, our interests are in line, and this could be a really fun deal.
Absolutely. And I love getting together and talking about all the different moving parts of this industry. It's such a fun business to be in.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. There's so much either big time negative stuff on there, or just flat out fake stuff. You get some people who, like, they're living life through a filter of. And I mean, look, trust me, if there's a skinny filter, I'd put that on right now. But, you know, I think it's at the gym somewhere, but I keep looking for the gym. But, but I mean, like, look, let's be transparent. Let's be real. Yeah. A friend of mine named Travis Brewer out in Arizona, he started doing all these random posts over the summer, and I texted him and I was like, dude, are you okay? Like, you sound like you're depressed. You're going through some stuff. He's like, no, I'm actually good, but I realized that my kids were getting to be teenagers and they had Instagram accounts. And I realized that if I didn't put out the reality of what my life was like, how could I expect them to feel like there was something other than just this unrealistic expectation? So
that's deep.
You got to cut through, you know, the BS, the BS of everything is perfect all the time filter. But again, focus on the positive because there is so much positive stuff out there.
I mean, dude, even within like I mean, I think even within the brewing world, that can be like, you know, there's so much negativity. You could say, like, you know, and that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, like, but you could say, like, oversaturation of the market, you know, brewers using, you know, like, buying up hops in South Africa, not, but, you know, but I think there's so much positivity, whether it's collaboration, whether it's you guys just putting out a great vibe, putting out great brews every month. I wanted to ask you, what's so, like, besides, you know, having that, like, consistency of having those, you know, kind of staple, you got those kind of 4 beers, like, that are the staple cans. Yeah. And then what's kind of the difference when you're doing the R&D or whether you're doing kind of the experimental stuff? I mean, I mean, many viewers out there will probably know, but, like, what's the intricacies of it that they might not know?
There's a few different moving parts to it. Sometimes the reason we make a certain beer at the R&D facility is simply because we're having a lot of people in one of the restaurants ask for it. Like, we're having so many people ask us for a brown ale right now. And it's
Christmas time.
It's, you know, it's colder weather, everything else. Well, we've made a couple of 10-barrel batches of brown ale, but it's not something that's been in heavy rotation for us. So, like, okay, well, look, we've done Bear Girls Brown and Good Grief Brown, but let's do another one. Let's you know, and give our guys outside of Matt an opportunity to write some recipes and say, all right, you have to make a brown ale. Go. So, and then working backwards from there, it gives them a chance to flex those muscles and work those chops and get better at brewing because the rising tide lifts all ships. So that's one big aspect of it is what are people asking us for?
Wait, sorry, was it the rising tide? Wait.
The rising tide lifts all ships or lifts all boats.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going. Yeah, that was rising tide. Wow, that's amazing.
Somebody told me a long time ago that a business doesn't work if it only works when you're there. So as a leader and as a manager, you constantly need to be trying to train people to replace you.
Delegation.
But it's more than just delegation. It's more than just saying, like, all right, you write the schedule this week.
Delegation and inspiration.
Exactly, because it's super easy to just, you know, take stuff off your plate and put it on somebody else.
You do this, you do that.
But it's training them how to do it so that they can do it and you don't have to worry about it.
Well, and also I feel like what you've done is, like, delegation I mean, and inspiration starts even before they work for you. I mean, you need to know like kind of the resume they worked for, like you said, whether it's AleSmith or whether it's the milkshake one, the
Toolbox.
Yeah. Excuse me. Whether it's AleSmith or Toolbox, like you have done your background homework on people who have had, you know, like proper experience in the field and like really are dedicated to their craft, and it shows in not only the quality of your beer, but just in like the turnout that you guys get and the vibe that you're giving off. And
thank you.
It's inherent in the business, and I think that is so beautiful. The one, I guess, you know, to round it out, what's, you know, we've announced some stuff of what's to come.
Yep.
We've done some first announcements here, and it's been awesome. I'm so honored to, you know, not only be in the brewery to talk to you, but to, you know, get some drops on what's going on with Mason. But what's to come?
Oh man, there's all kinds of cool stuff to come. So, you know, we were really pushing some of our own boundaries with these brewery-only releases we've got coming up. So, you know, we've never added adjuncts to this level with cash before in January.
What is it? Adjuncts?
Adjuncts. So basically things like chocolate or vanilla or coconut, or it's basically anything outside of grain and water, yeast, and hops.
So what's like adjunct is like whatever's not a natural beer.
Exactly.
Oh wow, so that's going to be.
I'm sure there's a better technical definition for it than the one I just gave. But
but adjunct is the lingo.
Exactly.
People can learn that.
So being able to do cash and do that release in January with double vanilla, coconut, lactose, which is milk sugar. So just getting this sweet, super creamy vanilla coconutty version of cash. That'll be a lot of fun because while we've played with some of those additions in barrel-aged beers, this will be a non-barrel-aged version that we're experimenting with some more extreme stuff with. And we'll see a lot of that carry through this year. We definitely have a lot of collabs coming up, and I'm working really hard right now. Contacted about a quarter of the people that I want to contact, so there's a lot more emails left to do, but one of my big goals for this summer is a collaboration road trip. So when we just had Urge, we did these two crazy things called Beer Run that were a lot of fun, and probably shouldn't have done them, but they were still a blast. So now I want to bring that back, but with a new perspective. So the whole idea behind Beer Run before was rent an RV, go to places that had beers we couldn't get in San Diego, and try to bring some of that stuff back. Come to find out, some of that was frowned upon. That's years in the past. But
frowned upon? What?
I won't get into it.
No need for negativity.
But so knowing what we legally can do, we'll leave it at that. Is what I want to do this year is do a collaboration road trip. So take 2 to 3 weeks in an RV, leave San Diego with a destination unknown. I keep thinking New York, but that may be too aggressive. And find probably 10 different breweries along the way to do collaborations with. And then at the end of the whole thing, see if we can find some way to come back and do a big event here. So that's my plan. It's a lot of logistics that are going to go into this.
I love the vision.
That's what I want to do. So hopefully I can pull that thing off this year.
Wow. Well, oh my gosh. Ooh. I got goosebumps. I literally have goosebumps. I mean, I come by way of DC, but you know, Dan's a native San Diegan. Most of us on the ODDCAST are native San Diegans. Appreciate you putting on for San Diego so much.
Absolutely, man.
Even though, like you said, you're from LA. I mean, San Diego.
Don't hold it against me.
No, I can't and I won't. San Diego's such a beautiful place, and the people here are so positive, and I feel like that has played into the plethora of breweries that are down here, and like we were discussing earlier, the collaborative effort that's allowed breweries to blossom. Definitely. I mean, and so, look out for the brewery tour, guys. That's gonna be, I'll fly out to wherever you guys are out on the East Coast and document it. And
awesome,
bring the
man.
GoPro.
Dude, it'll be a blast. If I can get this done right, I mean, we'll do some California breweries, do some Arizona breweries. Hit up New Mexico. La Cumbre out there is doing some awesome things. Hit up Texas. But you just do this run basically through the South up to New York, and then if you're able to do it right, depending on if I get the pass from the wife or not, then come back on the north side. So we'll see. I also have a tendency to bite off more than I can chew, which my wife will definitely accuse me of, rightfully so. So we'll see how this thing finishes up. But
dude, I mean, biting off more, in a way, you know what I always say is like biting off more than you could chew is what I call speaking stuff into existence.
Yeah.
And it really works. It's a positivity thing.
Wholeheartedly.
yeah, so look, I think we covered basically what we want to cover. The one last question I'd love to ask you would be, as someone who is basically working as at a high-level desk job, seriously, high-level desk job, 401k, like I'm sure health plan suited, dental suited, and you stayed with it, like you said, for 3 years as well as your partner. What would you recommend for people who are, there right now, listening to this and wanting to turn that passion into not only a lifestyle, but to paychecks, into profession, and, the leap might be a risk, but any advice?
Man, I would say this, and this is going to sound probably more defensive than I necessarily mean it.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to take that risk, but don't wait too long to take that risk either. And what I mean is, we signed the lease for the Bear Room on, I always mess up now, for my 27th or 28th birthday. So if you think that it took us a couple years to find a location, that means 24 years old, Zach and I are trying to shop a business plan around to banks for an SBA loan. Wow. Right? So one of the reasons why we've been able to make it work was, if that first restaurant had opened and failed miserably, like, we still would have not been 30 yet, and we could have said, all right, well, we gave it a shot. I guess I'm chained to the desk, but I have this fallback desk job with 401k and everything else. There's nothing worse than being 40 and deciding that you hated what you've been doing with your life for the last 15 years and then wanting to take that leap, but now you've got a husband or a wife, and you've got a mortgage, and you've got some kids. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with adulting, and that is a harsh reality, but that is a reality, man. So take some chances, take them while you're young, take them while you got nothing to lose, and you'd be surprised how often it's going to work out.
Really, if you put in if you put in the passion and if you put in the effort, which you guys clearly have, and you link, like, a big thing is like linking up with the right people and surrounding yourself with a positive team. I know it sounds goofy, but it is inherently going to work out. I mean, like, I'm not saying that we're not even close to what you guys are doing yet, but we started 3 months ago, and we've already garnered a decent following of just maintaining positivity and surrounding yourself with good people. And
you have to. The first thing you have to do is get over your own ego and understand that you are very rarely the smartest person in the room.
No.
But one of the smartest things you can do is listen to everybody else, but then have it on your shoulders that you're still the leader of the thing, and you have to make the final decision.
Yeah.
But success is definitely equal parts delegation, inspiration, and perspiration.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work out without the hard work. I can think of, just off the top of my head, I know there's a lot more out there, but 2 guys who started breweries and lived at their breweries for the first year they were open, because they literally put it all on the line, and if it didn't work, then they were done.
On the streets.
Yeah. So, but I can also happy to say that both those guys are making it. And both of them are. One of them is in an apartment now. The other guy's apartment hunting right now. So,
dude, congratulations to both of them. And look, shoot, that's really powerful. That's really freaking powerful. I think, we always try to, like, what's the answer to life, or I think, like, turning passion into paychecks is actually, like, every man, woman, and child's goal, in terms of, like, you want to be doing something that you love, in terms of, like, providing not only for you, but for your family. I mean, I know you have a wife and 3 kids, so, like...
I very, very, very rarely talk about the good old days of being a banker. I would say that I definitely share way more stories about the bad days of being a business owner than the good days of being a banker.
Oh my gosh.
I
mean, dude, I really, Grant, I really appreciate it. And dude, like, I would honestly, when you guys open some new stuff, your podcast family now.
Yeah,
when you guys open some new stuff, and I hope we're Mason family. When you guys open some new stuff, I'd love to sit down with you again and do another one. And like, you are the exemplification of turning that passion into a profession. But not only that, it's like you can do it for the first, like, year, right? That's like, you get the hype in the first year. Oh, it's like, my buddy's doing this, and people are down to share it and post it. But, like, second year, it gets a little less. Third year, it gets a little less. But you got to keep grinding.
Definitely. Make no mistake, owning your own business is lots of hard work, and there's no other way around it. I mean, I'm on 24/7, so it's but I also love what I do, so it doesn't feel like if I was at the bank 24/7, I'd be miserable. And that's actually not it's not necessarily intended to be a knock on the bank
No.
as much as it's just different when it's yours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, shout out to all my law school friends. I went to law school, and like, it just wasn't for me when I figured out what it was all about. And like, I mean, you actually did it and grinded, and you were like, this is not what I'm all about. And it was so cool how you guys reverted back to what you were doing and did it as a family. I think like you are who you surround yourself with.
Oh, dude, I'd be nothing without Nate and Zach. And
shout out to Nate and Zach, seriously.
And I feel 100% confident the two of them would say the exact same thing about me.
Oh, so, they would. That's the final thing is, guys, look up at Mason Aleworks on Instagram, masonaleworks.com. Look up 3L. It's 3LB, 3 Local Brothers. That's my guy and Nate and Zach doing it up. They aren't all brothers. Nate and Zach are, but this is like he's brothers with
the brother from another mother. Yeah.
You look like your brother. It's so funny because you even say that in the biography. It's like you all look like you are brothers. It's hilarious.
Absolutely.
And you can tell you've known each other since 15 and have been doing the same stuff. Dude, it's been a real blast talking to you. Guys, tune into the next episode of the ODDCAST, where again we talk about turning passion into paychecks. And again, as always, we want to let the guests sign out and want to get the guests doing any shout outs. So Grant, let me shake your hand.
Cool, absolutely.
And sign out. Yeah, thank you so much, Grant. And any shout outs you want to do, it's your time right now.
Oh man, well, first of all, big shout out to my wife for putting up with everything. Shout out to my business partners because they put up with almost as much stuff as my wife. And then we are nothing without the team. We as a company culture, we don't use the word employees. I'm surrounded by almost 400 strong team members that help us do it day in and day out. So thank you to the whole 3 Pound family. Cheers.
Awesome. And guys, again, thank you so much. Thank you, Grant. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. We love you all. Have a great day. Tune into the next episode of the ODDCAST where we talk about turning passion to paychecks.
Let's get a little weird. Let's get a little odd. Those sounds you like to hear. We got it going on. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST. It's the ODDCAST.